Right. Yes, Shalom Israel. Again, Yahweh Bashem Yoshem Rakata. To all my brothers, Yahweh Shem Altan Bashem Yoshai. To my sisters. Again, this is I.S.U.P.K Trinidad and Tobago. Again, I.S.U.P.K started out of 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Again, under commanding General Yahanna. Right. Again, this is I.S.U.P.K Trinidad and Tobago scripture breakdown class. I'm priest and officer Swap Yala, holding it down again, for priest and officer, priest and Captain Balawan, right? Again, as we continue again in these classes, again to bring these reminders again to all our brothers and sisters, if you're so-called Black, Hispanic, or Native Indian, again, these records belong to you. Right? These records, again, is your recorded history, and again, because of integration, and because again of you know integration, and because again of integration, and because again of right, again following after the customs and the cultures of these other nations, these reminders would continue to be brought out. And again, we as a people and as a nation, must come back laws, statutes, and commandments, must come back again to our records, to our history, right? And again, right, these reminders would be continually brought out, from time to time on these platforms. And as we continue to bring forth these records again, and bring the reminder to our people and to our nation, you know, Commanding General Yana always, add that, that brotherly love. Just as, King Yahushai made mention, when he set forth, and he sent forth these men, he say, go ye out, and he say, go not into the way of the Gentiles, but go rather unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel. So, let's grab that. That's right. All right. So, so, so right? Right. So again, as we continue to bring these reminders, again we continue to remind our brothers and sisters, and again, Commander General Yana has been holding on this truth. Again, since he been raised up, and this truth has been out since 1969, and to bring the reminder to us as a people and as a nation, and as the brothers and the Kens, was bringing out last night on the Black Watch, and again, tune into Command General, again, America on fire, Slovakia, America on fire, right? Tune into to America on fire again, like Commander General, and as the brothers, but as this, brotherhood, continue to be the strength and the stronghold of the nation. There's our King, Yahweh, that laid down from the foundation. This is again the pillar, you know, of what a nation is built on. And you would see it happening, as these other nations, draw to themselves again, as you say, in these last days. And these reminders was always brought out, on the street corners, and if you go back and you look at, the, some of these street speakings again from the men of, from I.S.U.P.K. One West again, you know, High Priest again, Arya again, Yeshaya, and even, these men and them, again, holding on this truth and, passing this truth onto faithful men and commanding General Yana being, again, the 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 last again of that era, that time, as this truth was passed down onto him, and he, you know, with that rank raise at that time, it was, given that rank raise of, commanding general, and, holding down that truth since from that time, during this time, and, bringing this reminder, and, waking up brothers and sisters throughout the four corners of the earth. In the time when, it looked like, you know, Israel was on, as we say, on that verge of, not being, you know, coming or not coming back together. But again, our records prove, that to be again, true. Because I wanna say true, because in our records, the Most High God always, kept that remnant, or as we say, or that chosen seed in the earth of righteousness to always bring forth this truth. And this is why again, when these instructions was given out, Commanding General Yana remembered one thing from the voice of the men that raised him up. Even our King Yahushai, you know, followed in that footstep. And again, was, as he sit amongst, as you say, these doctors and these lawyers, men of the law, men that would speak and talk about these records. And Christ, our King, understood, that he being, that authority figure, over the nation, understood one thing. And this is why, when he gave instructions, these instructions was always, laid down to the men, that he would serve and teach these men to serve. And this is why Commanding General Yohana, he continued along in that same footstep, and he followed after this, right? And we go read from Matthew 10 and verse 5. And it says, These 12 Yahushai sent forth and commanded them, saying, Go not into the way of the Gentiles. And why? Why he made mention of this? Because now he understood one thing, that teaching this, we had, as we say, a records full of wisdom, knowledge, and understanding and truth. That that following after this, this is what is going to build a nation. This is what we're going to keep a nation or bring them, as we say, to the top. And as the brothers was breaking down, again the Black Watch concern, that China understood one thing. Again, big ups, to the generals, the captains, all the men, above holding down this truth. Even, again, you know, a lot of these captains, formed as as pillars under these generals, and then given that instructed that instruct giving instructions, and following after the footstep, and as you say, weighing out the foots at these men, and them, and weighing out and only saying down and listening and follow the instruction. And you see that spirit pass straight through, the I.S.U.P.K. And this is why, again, when we read out our records, it always reminds us, because why we were reminded, they were reminded just as they reminded us. And this is why, again, as we read, as the scripture say, as you say in Matthew 10 and verse 5, you say, these 12, right? Yahushua sent forth, commanding them, saying, go not into the way of the Gentiles, and into the city of the Samaritan enter ye not. As I read this now, you see, again, Captain Kapasha again, and the next officer, again, young officer in Dominican Republic, or the island of Hispaniola, you know, raising or bringing this truth. And again, look at the works that as Paul made mention, and your Christian pastor will always look and he say, hey, I have faith, but Paul say, show me your works and I will show you my works with faith. And look at what is happening as brothers, travel throughout, these islands, through North, South, Central America, raising up, the 12 tribes, just as the prophets are old did, just as the apostles did, just as the men that walk after the instructions of these records did. And they would find that spirit in the I.S.U.P.K. again, headed by Commandant General Yahan, right? And he say, but go rather unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Why he's making mention of this? Because these records belong to you. These records is your history. These records is your as a constitution. These records will help you, as the scripture says, set you above high, on high above all nations of the earth. And this is why, again, when we bring these records out, these records was brought as a reminder to us, because now without these laws, statutes, and commandments, all this guide, as we say, look at our condition today, and we will go into the records. And again, this is why, again, this is so important, as we as this time, the returning of our King Yahushai, as we say, is knocking at the door. Because again, as you say, no man knoweth that time nor the hour. But again, it is given unto the Lord as again these instructions are passed on. But now, as all these, as we say, signs and all these, warnings, just as the prophets are all did and brought before, the nation was, was been has been brought into that place of unrest, is the same thing that is happening now. And these nations, again, the Most High God is going to deliver us, as we see, just as He had done when He delivered us out of the hand of all our enemies, and even in the time of our exodus in captivity in Babylon, which we know today as modern day America. And this is why, again, these records, must say again, Barakata Yahweh El Shai to the men above. Amen. Holding down this truth. And Commanding General Yana being that strength and that brother, and demonstration, what brotherhood is, and teaching sisters what it is to love a sister. And this is why, again, these reminders would continue to be brought out, right? So I continue on, right? And it said, but go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel, and as ye go, preach, saying, the kingdom of heaven is at hand. And what is the kingdom of heaven? Again, this is you, so-called blacks, Latinos, or Hispanics and Native American. Again, on the native indigenous people. This is you, again, in that place or gathering as a nation and a people. And again, this is why, again, we will always be or not be at rest, because now we are not, we are in the land of our captivity. And the Most High God will discomfort us in many ways. So don't feel as you see, brothers and sisters, right to the place of status or wherever, or owning this or owning that. Know this, they as the scripture say, they went, as we say in book of Deuteronomy, we will go to enemies in want of all things. And this is what took place. And our enemies control all our assets, all our wealth, all, as we say, our exchange, even our place of revenue. And this goes to show you who is in charge. And they just put themselves in. The Most High God, place them there. And this is why, again, we, as the scriptures make mention, that we were not to go, as the scriptures say, into the way of, of these other nations. Yes, right? And as verse 7, and as ye go, preach, saying that the kingdom of heaven is at hand. Right? So again, this and this is why, again, we must come back to these laws, statutes, and commandments, to our records, to our heritage. We must come back, you know, to the, again, in following after the instructions that was laid down for us by our forefathers. And this is why, again, the only place that you will find or get truth and get understanding, because as the scriptures say, in all thy getting, get understanding. So we know, as we say, we full of our no knowledge, we understand this. And this is why, as we say, our religious leaders failed us. Because why? Because of, turning or keeping a blind eye when this truth came down. This is why, again, it make mention in Jeremiah 14 and 2, when it said the gates thereof languish. Because why? Our leaders, or as you say, our religious leaders, who so-called Black, Latinos, and Native Indians, they failed us. And this is why, again, this truth, again, would be brought out. And again, the I.S.U.P.K have been bringing out this truth and bringing this reminder to our brothers and sisters, since 1969, right? So again, we're going to go into, again, records, and again, there's a valid article, you know, that, I'm going to read from, and again, while we look at what is taking place right now here in Trinidad, and a lot of, you know, our people, you know, is right. A lot of people, you know, is on the, as we say, on the verge of experiencing, again. They have been experiencing it, but the I.S.U.P.K say, hey, that time will come, and they will. Our enemies is going to show the true colors, and now you will have no other choice, because just as the scripture said, that in these last, everyone or every nation is going to cleave or cling to their own. And you're going to see this. You're going to see this, right? So, right, right, and this was, acclaimed, by this East Indian pundit, and as you say, this is why you tell brothers and sisters, hey, to move away from religion, or move away from, following the customs and cultures of the other nations, because why? They already have an identity, they already know who they is, and their spirit, again, is always, again, to cleave to one another, right? So this reading from the garden and says, no evidence to support claim East Indian targeted by criminals. Because now when the article drop, is like now you see our brothers and sisters now is seeing that, hey, what is on the minds of these, as we say, our oppressors. And again, these things was always brought out in the street to the forefront, and these things was always a reminder to us that all nations is going to cleave to their own. And the American dollar again is on the brink of being, as you say, back being broken, as we say, being come to a place where again being competed. Now we're going to see again our enemy, as we say, our oppressor in his full fleet, right? So now we really know again what about these oppressors are again these Indians in Trinidad, right? They say senior police officers say that there is no evidence to support the statement by pundit Stellan Maraj that people, right, that people of East Indian descent are specific targets of criminals. Because now one time, and this is again all people again, jumping and trying to, you know, as we say, shade our oppressor and making mention of this. Because now again, who are the real criminals? Who are the again the ones and them who push drugs and guns in the community? They are the real criminals, right? And they now, you know, seeing again or seeing, as the scripture say, what a man sow that he shall reap. This is what you, again, when you bring your drugs and your guns in the community, this is what is taking place. And because now what you have done to these people, know this, the Lord is going to repay, as you say, give them, as you say, how much full. Scriptures make mention of that. And this is what taking place. Now the Lord is doing something. The Lord is again is bringing that same pain and that same heartache that that was put upon us, and again that was brought down upon us by these other nations. Now this is our repair, and as we say, we don't condone violence in it, because now the Lord is the one who repays and who repays, right? And this is why we tell our brothers and sisters, hey, you harming one of these oppressors, Shalom, you doing that, again, the Lord vengeance is more than that, because now they themselves then this is what a nation that came up against us, right? So, right. So it says, right, during a media conference, right, in Sawa on Wednesday, Maraj claimed that urban youth along the east-west corridor are targeting people of East Indian descent in harangues across the country, right? While his comments, right, while his comments proved to be fiercely polarizing among the population, right? Sir right, Michael Pear, right, Assistant Police Commissioner Collins Hazer, both yesterday told Guardian Media it is not rooted in fact. So now again, you know, we people always try to come to aid, because again, there's East Indian, who hold certain position as well in the police. Why they didn't come forth and say that now? Now that, as you say, they put we to the forefront, and again we run into to the rescue. Again, these heathens and them, and trying to prove that what they say is not factual, and why? Because now again, just as we was a target again. And when I say with that, we always say, hey, that fatty razak, that should sink outside, as you say, coming in through to the Caribbean Sea, that should sink outside. Because now when they came here, they bring a custom and a culture, and that help in the oppression of the people. And now what they're doing, as the scripture say again, that even as we say, and in these last days, that that these nations would recognize something, that they would recognize that anytime these people, as the heathen make mention, status or serving the God, and this is what the I.S.U.P.K under command of General Yana has been teaching blacks, Hispanic leaders to come back. And this is why now you see the brothers again in Trinidad, as we say, Trinidad again and Tobago again has priests and prophets of the Lord. And this is why we always make mention that there's a number to call and counsel would be given. And anytime you neglect this, and we'll go into the scriptures and we will read just now concerning that when you neglect this counsel, when the Lord bring this destruction upon, as we say, because scripture say, the Most High does never destroy a city without warning. And this would always be one. This is why, again, on the platform at 91.9 FM, the radio station, even in the streets of Port of Spain, bringing out the street, these reminders what is being brought out. And the neglecting of these reminders, know this, there's always repercussion, because now the Lord is again is uneasy, just as any report that comes to our father, and hey, your son being taken advantage of, your children, your daughter being taken advantage of, that father with push and say, what? We now say that? And he move, and this is the Lord moving, because now the report coming in so much is like, nah, as you say, it reach up unto him. And the Lord, as you say, them horsemen, them outside, as you say. And this is what taking place right now. Right? So that we go, let me jump into the records. Yeah. So the Jonah, book of Jonah, chapter Jonah 3. 3, and you start at this. Tree. Right. You may do not tree. And you start at verse 1.
Jonah chapter 3 and verse 1.
Mm-hmm.
And the word of the Most High came unto Jonah
Mm-hmm.
the second time, saying,
Mm-hmm.
Arise and go unto Nineveh, the great city, and preach unto them the
Mm-hmm.
preaching that I had bid thee.
Right. Right. So now again, you know, again, becomes again, Captain Kataza again and the men, that went and break down, give the breakdown just as it was instructed and been taught. Even here again, the I.S.U.P.K, throughout the four corners of the earth, the breakdown, a Jonah. And General Hyman went into it, as I say, and bring, as you say, bring the flavor in it, because now again we is the salt. And when we read out our records, again, the only way you could get understanding through these records is by a black man teaching, Hispanic or Native Indian man teaching, and we're talking about righteous men that will not turn to the left or the right. And this is why when I make mention concerning the early part, at the class, concerning commanding General Yana, he followed the instructions, because why? Now you see the men that was raised up underneath him follow after the same footstep. And what these men do, as we say, they're not going into the way of these heathens, or as we say, the Gentiles, but they're going onto they go rather onto the lost sheep of the house of Israel. And this is why now you see, when you see brothers and sisters being raised up in the school, know this. These is the brothers and sisters who was in school, the instructions from our King Yahweh Shai, as you say, from old, and since from the prophets of old was given command to go to. And this is why now today we can sit on this platform and remind our brothers and sisters. Because why? This time, as we say, as you say, it nigh unto hand, or it near unto hand. Because why? Our King return is as we say, is on the horizon, is right there. And this is why now every day since, from as we say, since the truth was been brought out, that preparation was always, hey, you don't know what time or hour. So not every day we live, as we say. That's why I say the scriptures make mention and say, hey, don't worry about tomorrow, worry about today. Because now, as we say, enough is evil at the day. Now we are the handle what we handling today. Because why? That time was see, but you know what we're doing? We living and we walking in faith in these records with works. And this is what the I.S.U.P.K have been demonstrating since 1969. And this is why it's as the word of the Lord came unto Jonah the second time, right? On the second time. Because why it's saying the second time? You know why it's saying the second time, Zasha? When it say the word and the word of the Lord came unto Jonah the second time, saying, you know why it's saying that? Right? And you're correct. Because again, because now he get instructions. This was the second time he get instructions already. And this is why it make mention. Right? And wait say again, go ahead.
Verse 3.
Mm-hmm.
So Jonathan arose and went up to Nineveh
Yeah.
according to the word of the Most High.
According to he word,
According to the word of the Most High.
according to again we a man instructed him.
According to the word of the Most High.
And when I say a man instructed, I'm talking about he pastor or whatever. Because now again, our religious leaders, they would read out of this, and their instructions would be that God love everybody, God care about everybody. But as we say, these instructions was to go rather unto the who? The lost sheep of the house of Israel. So now these instructions was who? Go ahead.
Now Nineveh was exceedingly great city of 3 days' journey.
Right? And it's talking about the place. And this is why, again, when you see brothers, through North, South, and Central America, and even the Americas and the UK, travel, and as we say, we go to, as we say, or go to camp, or go, as we say, hit them street corners. What we go to do? We travel, and because why? Because our people are scattered, and place where we know the majority, or as we say, all people is. And you find that even in the time and the as the scripture say, when they stand up at the gate of where I can't remember, but the gate we call, where we transverse to and fro. Because nowadays what we going for, we as we say, we slavery or we hustle. So we in the city right through. Whether it to do business, whether it to hustle, as we say, or whether it be in anything, we always transversing to and fro. And this is again is where the prophets or the men of old will always be. Because why? Because our, as we say, of us not being on our own land, in our own homeland, and we were always needed to be reminded. And this is why these reminders will be brought up. And it's the same thing that took place in the time of Jonah. Go ahead.
Verse 4.
Right.
And Jonah began to enter into the city a day's journey.
Mm-hmm.
And he cried and said, Yet 40 days, and
Mm.
Nineveh shall be overthrown.
And why we using this or making mention of this? Because now that time is at hand. And this was in the time of Jonah. And now in the time, as we say, in the return of our King Yahweh Shai. And the reminder has been brought out. And just as the captains, was bringing out all the men, the generals, even again, even as you say on American Fire last night, captains and them was bringing out. All our focus would even be, as we say, on what taking place in the economy right now. But you know, we go turn our attention to, turning our attention to sports, turning our attention to soaps, turning our attention to movies, but it's not turning our attention to reality. And this is why, again, in the I.S.U.P.K under Command General Yana, this is why, again, as John 8 and 32 say, ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. When you're knowing all of this what taking place now, what happening now, it prepare in your mind. And again, over, as we say, as the brothers them was bringing out last night, Commanding General already gave the order. And he telling brothers, hey, prepare, because it have a time coming. And when you see what is taking place, know this, that time Riley. It Riley. And this is why, again, all schools, again, as Commanding General Yohana was always making mention to all these religious group A to come back. But know this, that that warning would always be given before the destruction come. And this is why it say in verse 4, and Jonah began to enter into the city a day's journey, and he cried and said, yet 40 days, and Nineveh shall be overthrown. And who is going to be overthrown by? Who is going to be overthrown by? Officer Shah? Who Nineveh going to be overthrown by if they follow them instructions? That's right. And who this place going to get overthrown by if they, as we say, or as we say, if we continue to follow the way after the oppressor? The Lord is going to overthrow or bring this place north. And this is why now, when we see all what is taking place right now, again, here, even here in Trinidad and all, even just, does that divert a little bit concerning what take place during the week with the little bomb threat, in all them schools and them. Again, know this, all these things and them is warning. You've been on that track since the day of your captivity, Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian. And Most High God always bring warning and remind us as a people that we should come out, as the scripture says in Revelation 18 and 4. It says, come out of her, my people. Come out of her, because why? Now our spirit is supposed, as we say, supposed to recognize something. That the path that we have been led down, as we say, is a part of that. But the Most made that provision and made that way back by sending forth, as you say, is most dedicated soul, as you say, as scripture said, only begotten. Because why? This was the one, as Moses was making mention, as you say, in us coming out of Egypt, that it had one to come from amongst us, one of our brethren. And this is why we always make mention that we following the ways and the custom of these Eden, that we would end up in a pathway of destruction. And this is why, again, our religious leaders, as you say, our politicians, the men that were supposed to be looking out for the nation, they failed us. Because why? They did something. They turned against the nation and, started to take on the customs and the philosophies and the doctrines, and started, as you say, make God word into a lie. And we might read about that, as we say, in the records, in the scriptures, when we, pull it on a bit, right? From the jump to the book of Ezekiel. Give me Ezekiel 2. Right? Ezekiel 2. Ezekiel 2. Ezekiel 2. Start at verse. Start at verse. Start at verse 4. So, okay. Right?
Ezekiel chapter 2 and verse 4.
Mm-hmm.
For they are impudent children, and stiff-necked, stiff-hearted, and do send thee unto them, and thou shalt say unto them,
2 and 4 you reading, right?
yes,
No, 3 Salakia. 3 and 4 Salakia. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes. Continue from where what Salakia, man. 2 and 4. 2 and 4. What?
2 and 4.
Yeah, 2 and 4 Salakia.
Ezekiel chapter 2 and verse 4.
Mm-hmm.
For they are impudent children,
Mm-hmm.
stiff-hearted.
Mm-hmm.
I do send thee unto them,
Mm-hmm.
and thou shalt say unto them, thus say the Most High.
And this is why again, every time that they hear, you know, a brother, or as we say, men in the ISUPK under Commandant General Yana sit on this platform, know these instructions have been passed on because why? Just as it was, as we say, in that time, the men and them that follow the men and them above, these instructions, and most I God always choose one. And this is why we always make mention that Commanding General Yahanna is the only man with that authority given, you know, to bring these instructions. Because now I just say a pastor might say go talk to him. But if your pastor say go talk to him and he come in and telling you that, you know, God said to love everybody. As I say, as will the song that they sing when they Sunday school, Jesus love all the little children of the world, red and yellow, black and white, and they are precious in his sight, and you know, confounding the minds of children. And when they say that now, it talking about every race. And this is why I, again, even you know, as you say, you know, pleasure, and then they say every creed and race find an equal place. If that was true, I think any war would I be waging in the earth right now? You think, as you say, we people will be facing what is happening right now, what taking place right now in Trinidad? And this is, it goes to show that these religious leaders, even our all religious leaders, are liars. And scriptures make mention of them. And this is why now it telling and it gain instructions specifically say, for they are impudent children and stiff-hearted. And this is how we know that this is who he is. Because even when we deal unto our brothers and sisters, it, it, the scriptures prove it to be true. Not us, you know. So now, as you say, when we had that interaction, as we say, we little, as we say, we went out on the little interview, it's here we see the stiff-heartedness behind our brothers and sisters because of what? Because of the society that they've been brought up in. And this is why, again, these reminders must be brought out. Right? I see a question online. Can I be cremated? Is cremation a sin? Right? Brother, we'll get that question. Son of God, right? Um, TRE, you get that question in a bit. So now a brother now asking, you know, can I be cremated? Right? Is it a sin? Um, right? You know, son of God, just before you know we go into the question, you know, I just want to ask, you know, what is your nationality? You know, again, you know, because again, this is this when you make mention of that, you know, this is not the custom and of our people, right? And you could prove it, you know, through our records. You know, just a quick question, you know, son of God, you know, nationality, right? And when I mean the nationality, you know, because now there's, as we say, what we call that chart, or as we say, the lineage of our people, of, as we say, of Jacob's son. And Jacob's sons now, as we say, they belong to a bloodline, or a people, or a nation. And this is why, right? Yeah, son of God, black and Indian mix. And when you say black and Indian mix, make this goes again by the seed of your father, who your father is, because now on the 12 tribe, as you say, Jacob's sons, now it make mention, you know, that this is who they are, because again, and I'll just run it through. right? For you, right? Right? You might be God. Okay. All right? Right? And again, when you make mention that you might be God, right? This is who your father is. You know, one of the native Indians and them, when they say might be God. Answer, you can shoot back the answer. Right? You make mention that they might be God. Because now, the native Indians and them in North, South, and Central America, again, when you go back and you read, in the book Ezra, or first Ezra, second Ezra, concerning that's split, even in the time that where the nation was divided into northern and southern kingdom. That are split in the nation. And the scripture says Ephraim and his fellows, and Ephraim being, that head at that time now, and all the other tribes underneath him, again, flee to this side of the road. So, we say, I might be God. So, just ask, concerning, your father, because now this goes by who your father is, right? So, if you could answer that, if you say you might be God, so this might be on your father's side, right? You could shoot back the answer, right? Right? Father is African American, right? And if you say your father is African American, and then you're from the tribe of Judah, because now when the African Americans and them we so called, I say Afro American, is from the tribe of Judah, right? And this is why this is as I make mention concerning that split, because of the northern and the southern kingdom, right? And southern kingdom, as the scripture make mention, Judah and his fellows, that was Judah, Benjamin, and as we say, the part of the tribe of Levi, because the priesthood was always, interaction, as we say, between, these tribes or these brothers, right? So if you make mention that your father is African American, then you're from the tribe of Judah, right? And the next thing, son of God, what city or what country is a location, because now this is just so important now, because now the I.S.U.P.K has schools, throughout the four corners of the earth, just as was prophesied in the scriptures, and make mention that we've been scattered through the four corners of the earth, right? 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 In right, New Orleans, Louisiana. Right? So now there's a school in New Orleans, Louisiana. Again, it had one of the baddest, one of the baddest, or the most, one of the, one of the men that were brought up under, this troop, and Captain Kahan Tamian. He's based, in Louisiana, and we'll give you the answer, to your question just now, when they say, can I be cremated? And, we will also, type in the chat, the the number for the New Orleans schools. We can do from the Officer Shah, right? You will find the scripture where it say concerning that as well too, right? Concerning that as well, right? So we just pulling up the scripture. Just now, I'll just type in the chat there. I'll get the number for the school in New Orleans, so you can contact the brother in New Orleans. Just a minute, Yes, okay. Yes, yes, brother. Mm. Mm. Yes, sir. Yes. we will put the number in the chat. Just all right. We will just answer a question, right? So you get the scripture. What we going at? What we going at?
Without without when he has saved without Genesis 49 read and after it
Right.
with Christ.
We will touch on them. Right? You're going with the one in Genesis is
Genesis 49 and verse 29.
Genesis 49, right? And it right and verse right, right. Just a second. Right, and when they read Genesis 49 again, this is now, and this is why now when you make mention, and this is who we are, these 12 tribes, and this is again why when we make mention of the 12 tribes chart, and a lot of people, the only this is where everybody again, all these other break off on them, and when we say break off, who was at one point in time learning from the I.S.U.P.K and break off and start their own religion. This is where they learn, these 12 tribe chart, and this is where they have a idea on, who they is, and this is why we always make mention that we are not affiliated with no religious group or organization, right? So on the question where you say, can I be cremated? Is cremation a sin? Right? We go read about this concerning that, and then we will read when they make mention concerning is cremation a sin. And this was when they say cremation is a sin, this was not we custom. This is not, and this is why we're reading out of our record. So we tell you this is what our customs and what we used to do. Right? Go ahead.
Genesis chapter 49 and verse 29.
Read from verse 20. Right? Just to get
Okay.
right.
Genesis chapter 49 and verse 28.
Mm-hmm.
All these are the 12 tribes of Israel,
Mm-hmm.
and this is it that their fathers speak unto them.
And why we start from here now, because now you being, from that bloodline, as we say, or from the tribe of Judah, and the father, which was Jacob or Israel at that time, speaking to his sons and them, because now he let each and every one of us, as we say, our forefathers know this will befall them when you read Genesis 49 and 1. What will happen to us in the last days and where we will end up. And when we look at what take place here, biblically, as we say, historically, and as we say, what took place, then you see we end up exactly just as we tell us who we will end up. Right? Go ahead.
And bless them,
Mm-hmm.
every one according to his blessings.
Mm-hmm.
He blessed them.
Right. Go ahead.
Verse 29.
Mm-hmm.
And he charged them and
Mm-hmm.
said unto them,
Mm-hmm.
I am to be gathered unto my people.
Mm-hmm.
Bury me.
Do what? Do what?
Bury me.
Cremate me.
Bury me.
Cremate. Go ahead.
With my fathers
Mm-hmm.
in the cave
Mm-hmm.
that is in the field of Ephron, the Hittite.
Mm-hmm. Right. Go ahead. Read verse 31. Right.
Verse 31.
Mm-hmm.
There they buried Abraham
Mm-hmm.
and Sarah his wife.
Mm-hmm.
There they buried Isaac
Mm-hmm.
and Rebekah his wife.
Mm-hmm.
And I will bury Leah.
All right. So now it show you now. This was who he is. We was never a people, as we say, to be cremated. And again, based on how, again, some, as we say, through our scripture, that some of our, as we say, in the records and all, where some of us, as we say, get caught or so burn alive or wherever the case may be. And then again, because over a period of time, now we start to follow or take up the customs and the cultures of these other nations. But being cremated, this was not our custom and our culture, because now the question now that you ask now is, can I be cremated? And what we're reading out of, because now as the scriptures say, to prove all things, and now we answer not on our, or what we learn or we've been taught in society, but we answer based on the instructions that our forefathers laid down, because now we have as you say, a record or a book full of our history and full of understanding. And because now we've been taught otherwise, this is why we follow these customs. So the first part of the question, can I be cremated? Again, that is now we custom. That is now we culture. Right? Where we going at now?
The Ecclesiastes or something.
The Apocrypha?
No.
In the Bible? Right, go ahead.
Um, Ecclesiastes chapter 12 and verse 7. Then shall the dust return to the earth as it is, and the spirit shall return unto the Most High who gave it.
Right. That is it.
Okay.
So, right. So the part about is cremation a sin? Again, that is not the custom, and that is not we culture. So now you giving the instructions or telling your children, to cremate you or whatever. Know this, that is not we custom, and we culture. So now when it make mention concerning is a sin, the answer to that is that is not we custom. That is not, as we say, the teachings of our fathers. Right? So I don't know if that answer a question, again, you can let me know if that answer a question. Right?
This one, Christ when
Mm-hmm.
is the modern one here, modern pastor, and Christ tell them let the
Dead, buried, the dead.
dead buried.
Yeah, dead,
So
buried.
Christ
Yeah. So
that,
even okay,
that
and then so what after that, of Sasha making mention of that, because now as King Yahweh I say he make mention, hey, let the dead bury the dead. So now when you read from that time, now it shows you that even that time our teaching, this was always our customs, and again our culture, right? So if that answer a question, you can type in, if you want more understanding or it's a while with that, right? So we go from the where we was at in Ezekiel. Hmm? Yes, all right. Right. Oh, you can now see it, right? An explanation of Genesis 3:19. In the sweats of thy face shalt thou eat bread till thou return unto the ground. Out of it was thou taken, for thus art thou, and thus thou shalt return. Right? So again, right? Let me just get the brother question, because now again it's so important, and this is why we always make mention, to our brothers and sisters to always chime in the class, bring your questions, because now all the questions again would be answered. Right? Right? Let's see. Genesis. We in Genesis what? 3, 3 and 19. Right? So, right? Read Genesis. We ask now explanation on Genesis 3 and 19. Right? Let's see. Read verse 1.
Okay, so down.
3 and 1. Because now remember now, as the scripture say, that everything will be read, in context. And this is why now, as we say, when we, just as you make mention, the explanation of Genesis 3 and 19, now everything will be in context. And everything will go in a line. And why it is now, when the explanation coming, that because of that, why this happened? Right? Read 3 and 1.
Genesis chapter 3 and verse 1. The serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which the Most High had made.
Right? And this is so important now, because now what society always portray, that that the serpent and God is two different separate being or entity, but not knowing that it make mention at the CF specific of the field which who made?
The Most High.
Because now the Lord created this being. Go ahead.
And he said to the woman, Yea, had God said, You shall not eat of every tree of the field.
Right. Go ahead.
Verse 2. And the woman said unto the serpent, We may eat of the fruit of the tree of the garden.
Because now we reading, reading instructions now. And that instructions now come, with that order. And that when I read 1 Corinthians 11 and 3, it always had that structure and that order. It says, for God is the head of man, and God is the head of Christ, and Christ is the head of man, and man is the head of woman. And now, this is why now when we make mention concerning that, there was always structure and order. Right? Go ahead.
Verse 3. But of the fruit of the tree, which is in the midst of the garden, the Most High had said, You shall not eat of it, neither shall you touch it, lest you die.
And when he's talking about the tree in the midst of the garden, he talking about what? He's talking about, as we say, these customs and this culture, the doctrines and the philosophies, and again, are these other nations. Because why we wasn't supposed to follow these ways? Because the Most High God had warned us. And again, this going in, and this is why we say in the book of Genesis, when it is explained in religion, it would always be explained as something, with with look physical, but not spiritual. Because why? It coming from a different source or a different entity. And when I say that, a different nation or people, so it's like, we having this conversation. I speaking to as you say, to my brother from the tribe of Judah, who is the son of God. We be talking, as you say, in slang talk, or talking, as you say, in metaphor, but now we understand what we're talking about. And this is why now, when these records are read to us by these other nations, they would always try to prove, but this is what it say, that way it say, but they don't understand what it say. Right? From there, we see, jump down to verse 14. Right? So we just skipped through that. They went up there to establish all of this is what take place. So now we coming down to a question. Go ahead.
Verse 14. And the Most High power said unto the serpent, Because thou done this, thou art cursed above all cattle.
Because thou hast do what?
Because thou hast done this.
Right? And this is so important to understand now. Because now when you do something, or we disobey, or as we say, or stop follow them instructions, this is what take place. Go ahead.
Because thou hast done this, thou art cursed above all cattle, and above every beast of the field. Upon thy belly shall thou go.
Right. Jump from there, go to 17, because we coming down to the question. Go ahead.
Verse 17. And unto Adam he said, Because thou hast hearkened unto the voice of thy wife, and hast eaten of the tree of which I command thee, saying, Thou shalt not eat of it. Cursed is the ground for thy sake. In sorrow shalt thou eat of it all the days of thy life.
And when he say we eat at the tree, now we start to, as we say, we start to worship astrology. Now we start to say we is Aries, we as we say, we is Taurus. We start to worship the stars and all the astrology, because now that's why you see that out in the midst of the garden, that, as you say, don't partake or eat of that fruit. Because now anytime we start to follow that way, what we gonna do? Now we start to teach people to do what? to worship the sun and the moon and the star. And this is now a custom. Because again, all these things and them was there for what? To know to tell us about the times, or to tell about the seasons and the months and as you say, in our times. And we wasn't supposed to worship that. Right? And this is why you find, them fake Israelite, as we say, or religious group or church, Christian church, or break off from the school, teaching the followers now that to follow the moon or to worship the moon. And this is now the custom. Right? Go ahead. Yeah, 18. You're going to the question now.
Verse 18.
Mm-hmm.
Corn also and thistles it bring forth to
Mm-hmm.
thee,
Mm-hmm.
and thou shalt eat the herbs of the field.
Right, go ahead.
Verse 19.
Mm-hmm.
Then the sweat of thy
Sweat,
then
yeah.
the sweat of thy face
Mm-hmm.
thou shalt eat bread
Mm-hmm.
till thou return to the ground.
Mm-hmm. Right, and when it say to the sweat of this pathway back, to truth, it will be very hard. And this is why now we see when we now read in Jonah and in Ezekiel, when it tell we say go unto you see a rebellious people, because now we so rebellious against this, it will be hard. It's like we have to sweat. We have to sweat. It's not like as you see with the Christian church, my teacher by the sweat of your brow, to eat this or to understand this truth, you, you have to work. And this is why when Paul make mention, he say, hey, you will show me your faith, and I will show you my faith with works. These men and them work, put in the work, and this is why now when you see, as you say, and you look at the Black Watch last night, you see the captain like a Pash, in the Dominican Republic, or the island Espanol, when no two brothers bordering, as you say, Simeon and Levi, and just as we read in Genesis 49 concerning that, where they would be on the same island and warring against each other. That way back, they had to sweat. Go ahead.
In the sweat of thy face thou shalt eat bread till thou return unto the ground.
Until as I say, the Most High God take me back. Go ahead.
For out of it was thou taken,
Mm-hmm.
for thus thou art,
Mm-hmm.
and unto dust shalt thou return.
Right, and this is our meaning, because now, as it say, for out of it was thou taken, for thus thou art, we was raised from a low estate. Because now it show you now when the scriptures make mention, I think it's earlier on, when he said that how as you say, he breathed the breath of life into man, and man become a living soul. It was talking about that time the Most High God choose this as you say, this man out of all the nations, and as say, give him these laws, statutes, and commands. And this was our forefather as Adam, as we say. And this is why again, when you ask the question concerning Genesis 3:19, in the sweat of thy face thou shalt eat bread, it tell we that way back to the truth. It wouldn't be we had a work faith. We had a work faith, right? And then it say, till thou shall return unto the ground, right? Again, that we had a word, we say, till that time that the Most High God ready to as we see, to bring you back. And this is why again he make mention concerning that, he created vessels of honor and vessels of dishonor, and he make a clear distinctions, and we were supposed to always be that vessels of honor, upholding this truth, right? So, right, I don't know if that answer a question again, son of God, right? So again, we go put in the chat just now the number for the Louisiana school, right, or the school down in New Orleans, right? So again, no sweats, right? So let me see if I get it. So, I.S.U.P.K. We go do just check on online for the I.S.U.P.K. New Orleans school now. Right? Yeah, New Orleans, I.S.U.P.K, New Orleans or Louisiana. Check for I.S.U.P.K, Louisiana. So you want you just give me the number. So you just put it in the chat. Right? Right? So right. So right. So we will continue. Yeah, anything in this. Right? No sweat, man. So you put in the link in a little bit. Again for the school. Again in New Orleans, right, and Louisiana. Again, as you say, that's somebody as you say baddest. And when we say baddest, that's how we just talk now in slang talk. Who look out or seek interest. As we say, our brotherhood, we protect that brotherhood. As the scripture say, which man go lay down his life for his brother, because now chance was always passed down in our side. And this is what we uphold, and keep today. Because why? It's all about a nation or a people, coming back to these laws, statutes, and commandments. Right? Yeah, that's some, right? That's right. Where's the number?
I,
Right, that's right. S A, that's right. LOUISANA. Right. But
517
517.
dash
Right. Yes.
803
803. But
dash 9993.
9993. Right. That's all right. 507 517
Yeah,
803
yeah. 9.
9993. Right. Right. Yeah, brother. This is the school for I.S.U.P.K, the number for I.S.U.P.K, Louisiana. Right. So, you can contact, the number, and it'll be put on to the brother who in charge of the school down there, and it always will give you, or as we say, bring you to that place, where, as we say, with the scripture say, as we say, as we read in Matthew 10 and verse 3, say, go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. As the scripture say, feed my sheep, the flock of my people are sheep, they'll be fed down there. Right? Um, right? So, right, where we at now?
You are in Ezekiel.
2, right? Ezekiel 2, right? Ezekiel 2, I know we are at verse, start at verse 4,
Yeah.
right? We go to verse 5, right? Right?
Ezekiel chapter 2 and verse 5.
Mm-hmm.
And they, whether they will hear
Mm-hmm.
or whether they will forbear,
Mm-hmm.
for they are rebellious house,
Mm-hmm.
yet shall know that there had been a prophet among them.
They had be who? They had known more?
Yet shall know that there had been a prophet among them.
And this is how you're going to know that these records belong to you. Because why? Now these men are all stand on a foundation, and a foundation of truth, and a foundation that was right. Because why? Because now in a society where we was labeled as we say, as cockroaches and pests, as good for nothing, as we say, or as we say, to be trodden on, these warnings will be brought out. And this is why in these last days, notice that the Most High God is bringing that warning as a good father. Because daddy coming home just now, like all, as we say, the eldest, or the one who in charge, hey, daddy coming home just now, or daddy coming home just now. And that warning is being given, right? Go ahead.
Verse 6.
Mm-hmm.
And thou, son of man,
Mm-hmm.
be not afraid of them,
Mm-hmm.
neither be afraid of their words.
Right? Because why? Because we know, as we say, the way our people, as we say, like the whole status, as we say, or label as they as quote unquote some in society, the whole opposition, whether it be the service, whether it be entertainment, whether it be wherever, they always like to pull, as you say, pull that rank on you. But the script, they'll be, hey, don't be afraid of them. Go ahead. Mm-hmm.
Though, though barriers and thorns be
Mm-hmm.
with thee,
Mm-hmm.
and thou does well among scorpions, afraid of their words,
Right.
nor be dismayed at them, though they be a rebellious house.
And I just explained that now because now I say I need to give them a description, just like I just say like any pest or any insect. I just say we could be harmful or dangerous to you. We could I just say with that sting, as you say from the scorpion tail, like you get poison. Then you know that, right? Then the prophet know. Go ahead.
Like I say,
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, Dr. Sasha.
they kind of they tell me both sides that
Yeah.
some of them
Yeah.
looking mean and some of them looking nice. And
Mm,
so
yeah.
they,
Yeah.
like they say
Damn
that
right.
we see them all for them.
Yeah.
Them sheep and all clothing and things like that. Some of them nice
That-
looking things.
damn right.
They dread.
Damn right. Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead.
Verse
Yeah.
7.
Yeah.
And thou shalt speak my words unto them,
Mm-hmm.
whether they will hear
Mm-hmm.
or whether they will forbear.
Right. And as you read that over again one more time.
Verse 7.
Mm-hmm.
And thou shalt speak my words
And,
unto them,
and what we're going to do in the I.S.U.P.K under Commandant General Yahanna,
and thou shalt speak my words unto them.
because why? We follow the instructions as we say the men are old and the prophets are old. And them, as we say, that spirit is one spirit passed down straight through our records. And this is why now we're going to speak that word. Go ahead.
Whether they will hear,
Whether they will what?
whether they will hear,
So now this is why we always make mention. This is not the Christian church. This is not your Muslim. This is not your, as they say, imam or your pundit or whatever. So whether you're here, go ahead.
whether they will forbear.
Mm-hmm. Whether or you disagree, go ahead.
For they are most rebellious.
Because this is who he is, and this is why when the brother asked the question, it was so, as we say, on topic. That the sweat, that work, we have to put in that work. Must put in that work. And as the scripture say, Christ make mention, he say, no man can come unto me unless the Father draw him. Now you are the one this. You must want you want your 9 to 5, as you say, or you want wherever slavery is pushed towards, they want it. Same thing with this, with the truth. You have to want, you have to sweat for this. You must sweat for this. Right? Again, big ups to again, shout out to Captain Contamiad again, all the brothers on Facebook, Rango Django, again, tuning in, again, SHALAM, Mayakala, Banat, Yahawada, again, Shalom sis, again, brothers and sisters tuning in and, log in. And again, this is why, again, these records or these reminders would be brought out, right? We are give me verse 8, right?
Verse 8.
Mm-hmm.
Ezekiel chapter 2 and verse 8. But thou, son of man, hear what I say unto thee.
Mm-hmm.
Be not thou rebellious like the rebellious house.
And this was, you always throw it back to the men in charge or the men who leading or the men who speaking. Because why? He telling me, don't be like them. Go ahead.
Be not thou rebellious like that rebellious house.
Mm-hmm.
Open thy mouth and eat that I give thee.
And why. And this is why the brothers or the men in the I.S.U.P.K under Commandant General Yana, we continue to bring this truth out, continue to bring that reminder out. Because why? We was reminded, Commandant General Yana was reminded, and as you say, that same spirit passed straight down, through the nation, right? Jump from there, give me Isaiah 30, right? And again, this is why again it's so, as we say, you know, fruitful in the sense that, just as we bring in or start when our King Yahushua made mention in Matthew 10 to go, but to the lost sheep of the house of Israel, and don't go into the way again of these Gentiles or these heathens and them. And this is what we have been taught, right? Give me Isaiah 30, Isaiah 30, right? Start onto one. And this is a reminder to us, and why, we keep on being reminded as a people being labeled in a society where everybody now is saying, these lads, everyone clinging to their own. Don't rebellious. Don't be rebellious. Because why? Because the Most High God had always bring warning through the men, through the prophets, through his servants, through his vessels of honor. Because these men are all always honor the Lord, always follow the instructions that been passed down. Right? Go ahead. Yeah, 30 and 1. Right?
Isaiah chapter 30 and verse 1.
Mhm.
Woe to rebellious strength,
Mm-hmm.
say to side,
Mm-hmm.
that take counsel, but not of me,
Mm-hmm.
and that cover with the covering, but not of my spirit.
And why this is so important, because now the spirit that we walk in right now after is not the spirit of the Lord. And this is why now reminding our brothers and sisters that there's a way back, and the Most High God always make that provision. And then we always use that platform at Matthew 10:5, this I think 5 to 7, where demonstrating what brotherhood is, what sisterhood is. There's always a way back. Because why? We take up spirit with that. Go ahead. Mm-hmm.
That take counsel, but not of me,
Mm-hmm.
and that cover with the covering, but not of my spirit.
And why? Because now we listen to who? We listen to all these other nations, all these other religious organizations, run by, as we say, by these heathen and them, and start to follow the depiction of, as we say, that slave oppressor, and follow, as we say, a God, as we say, or idol that doesn't give a description of who our king is. So now we be walking after, as we say, that depiction of that white image, as we say, or after Cesar Borgia, and our minds are destroyed, walking after, as we say, a stone, a rock. Right? Go ahead.
That they may add sin to sin.
They might add what?
Sin to sin.
And what is sin now? We break the laws that the Lord laid down for us. As the scripture said, as we say, 1 John 3 and 4 or 5 and 3, sin is the transgression of the law. It's 5 and 3.
Yeah, 1 John 5.
Sin is the transgression of the law. And anytime we do that, we add in sin to sin, because now, as we say, we worshiping the God, we worshiping the idol. Right? Go ahead.
Verse 2.
Mm-hmm.
That walk to go down into Egypt,
Mm-hmm.
and have not asked at my mouth.
And when we as we say, we partake in the customs and of America, as we say, Egypt is the word synonymous to the word bondage. And you could find this in Exodus, I think Exodus 3 or that's what we talk about Egypt, bondage, the house of bondage. I can't remember, I paraphrase it. So it talk about that. And this is why when he say that how that we walk and go down into Egypt, right? And not have and have not asked at my mouth. And why? Why is he making, why he say you go on Egypt and ask him out? You know why? Esha? Huh? Right. And when he say that, as the scripture say, that walk to go down in Egypt and not ask of my mouth, the next part will explain it. Go ahead.
To strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh.
And why it's saying strengthen the strength of Pharaoh, right? Huh?
So they're all up in they're all up in
Mm.
strong doings of the nation. They're all strong doings of serving other gods. And and not at the most side.
Finish read out and you'll get it straight now. Finish read out.
To strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh and to trust in the shadows of Egypt.
To do what?
And to trust in the shadows of Egypt.
Because now we live in our lives. Because now what does it tell we? What does it tell we? Our shadow is just a reflection of our a light. Remember now when light shine on you, it is reflect off of your a shadow. So now that reflection, as you say, you're trusting in that reflection. And because you're trusting now, you're adding sin to sin. Because now you're having hope in something that is just a reflection. And not as you say, not actually as you say, that how to play it by, it's not some actually, that would help out, in the oppression of your people. Because now your people being oppressed, as you say, or being, labeled as something in a place where, they be called by, as we say, different, or labeled as something that is very bad or bad. So like call them cockroach, pests, whatever. And because now, as the scriptures say, when we go down in, as you say, walk down Egypt and have not asked of my mouth, because now with the warning, we didn't take heed to do what? To know, as the scripture say, understand these other nations that the Most High God put them there. To do what? To always check we and always make mention. I think it's Deuteronomy 7 and 3, that do give your sons unto their daughters, or do give your daughters unto their sons, lest they turn and they forget me. And this is we now going into, as we say, in America, going in, as you say, into all these places and them run by the oppressor, and trying to follow the customs and the culture, and thinking that, what, we have a life, but not knowing, again, doing this, what will happen? We will come up against people, we will come up against our brothers and sisters, right? Go ahead. And next part we'll go tell you, verse 3. Go ahead.
Verse 3. Therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shield.
Right. Shall be what?
Therefore the strength of shadow, and therefore the strength of Pharaoh be your shield, and the trust in the shadows of Egypt your confusion.
And why? And this is why we're so confused, again, in this society, because now we always, think we know everything what going on now, but not knowing, as we say, see these record, this book, as we say, this book is the key to life. If you're Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian, this is the key to life. Understanding everything that is taking place around us, as you say, in the past, present, and as you say, what taking place, as you say, past, present, and current, and what is going to happen. This is the key, and this is why, again, our records, this book, that why we always make mention that anybody outside of the nation of Israel who take up this book, and they would get charged for it, because now it take up a record or something that doesn't belong to you. So it come there, as they say, a thief is a thief. That's why the scripture say, um, somewhat got um, to kill, steal, and destroy. To kill, steal, and destroy. That's paraphrasing, but I'll get it just now, right? So, and this is why again, these is a reminder. These, as you say, these records are a reminder to us, right? We are give me Jeremiah 37, right? Almost up on the time. Jeremiah 37. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, sure,
Yes,
no,
yes,
sure,
sir.
reply. Jeremiah 37. 37 and verse 6.
Jeremiah chapter 37, verse 6.
Mm-hmm.
Then came the word of the Most High unto the prophet Jeremiah, saying,
Mm-hmm.
verse 7,
Mm-hmm.
Thus saith the Most High, power of Israel,
Mm-hmm.
thus shall you say to the king of Judah
Mm-hmm.
that sent you unto me to inquire of me,
Mm-hmm.
Behold, Pharaoh army, which is come forth to help you,
Mm-hmm.
shall return to Egypt into their own land.
Read that last part again. And this is why we always tell our brothers and sisters, don't feel that these other nations like you. Because why? As the scripture say, in these last days, every nation, every man is going to clean to his own house. Right? Go ahead.
Thus saith the Most High,
Mm-hmm.
power of Israel,
Mm-hmm.
thus shall you, the king of Judah,
Right. Say unto that, right? Thus shall ye say.
thus shall you say to the king of Judah
Mm-hmm.
that sent you
Mm-hmm.
unto me
Mm-hmm.
to inquire of me,
Mm-hmm.
Behold,
Mm-hmm.
Pharaoh's army, which is come forth to help you,
Mm-hmm.
shall return to Egypt into their own land.
Mm-hmm. Right, and why it is these pastors and them, as I say, when as you say, especially the religious leaders of Israel, these gatekeepers, when brothers and sisters come and ask them questions concerning, these records, why it is now that they doesn't, as I say, give them it straight or give them it, direct, in the sense that, hey, explain what this mean. As I say, give it as the scripture say in Revelation 1:13 to 15. Is this, a description or the color of a black man? Don't try to, as I say, to sidestep it and say, hey, color don't matter. And then when they read other, as you say, passage in the scripture, they're seeing that, hey, this book full of color, and giving you a description to destroy nothing, because now in the scripture they say that how they're going to change this time, this season, they're going to change images. The scriptures say that, all records say that this is what this man going to do. As we say, the son, as we say, a position, this is who he is. And this is why again there was always a charge concerning, these other nations, right? Yes, sir. It's a even though I told you, right? So, but I asked, sorry, brother, explain, right? First Samuel 3, First Samuel 31 and 12. My mother, it's about cremation again, even though I told her, you know, we can't do that, right? Right. Well, that's now again, and First Corinthians 13, and I bestow all my goods to feed the poor. Do I give my body to be a burnt? Right. Right. Let me get them two scriptures to the brother, and then we close it. Brother, son of God, he asks a question. He says, sorry, right? No sweat. No, explain First Samuel. Let me go to First Samuel 31. First Samuel 31. Samuel 31. Samuel 31. 31 and 31 and 31 and 12. Read 1 Samuel 31 and 12.
The book of 1 Samuel, chapter 31 and verse 12.
Mm-hmm.
All the valiant men arose
Mm-hmm.
and went all night
Mm-hmm.
and took the body of Saul and the bodies of his sons
Mm-hmm.
from the wall of Bethshan
Mm-hmm.
and came to Jezbeth
Mm-hmm.
and burned them there.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Verse 13.
Mm-hmm.
And they took their bones and buried them
Mm.
under a tree at Jabash
Mm-hmm.
and fasted 7 days.
Right. So now when you know, and just as he make mention concerning, you know, again cremation, and this is why again when you read in Genesis and it talking about when you read in verse 1, read verse 1 for me. Right?
Come, come.
Mm-hmm.
The book of 1 Samuel, chapter 31 and verse 1.
Mm-hmm.
Now the Philistines fought against Israel,
Mm-hmm.
and the men of Israel fled from before the Philistines
Mm-hmm.
and fell down slain in Mount Gilboa.
And it talking about this was a time of war. This was a time of war. Now, when you ask the question earlier before, when it make mention concerning, you know, when they talk about if cremation is a sin, and you know, based on the explanation, this is now we custom, and even or as we say, our father make mention of this, and even when you read verse 13.
Come,
Mm-hmm.
the book of 1 Samuel,
Mm-hmm.
chapter 31 and verse 13.
Mm-hmm.
And they took their bones
Mm-hmm.
and buried them under a tree
Mm-hmm.
at Jabesh and fasted 7 days.
So even though these men and them again were burned, you know, the burn that were society push now, you don't even get bones in cremation. The showing you now here, these men and them had literal bones. So you're telling you what really take place wasn't the burn that we would look at as cremation. Because now it still had, as I say, a skeleton or a frame to bury. So now again, that wasn't again we custom again our culture, right? So again, this is why this is why, brother. Again, I see again. Or I say she driving me crazy. No sweat because now again, this is who we is, and just as we make mention that this is who we are, a rebellious people. So now it's like just as we make mention, coming back to this, we right? Then we get the next scripture, 13 and 3. Right? So I just touching on that again. So that we talking about again, right? First Corinthians 13.
The book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 13 and verse 3.
Mm-hmm.
And though I be and though I bestow all my goods to feed the poor, and do I give my body to be burned, and have not charity, it profit me nothing.
Right. So again, this not speaking about again a literal cremation, because now just again, and you can go back to even when you read in Genesis again, or which one of the scriptures you read concerning, they talk about, sorry, this is not a literal burn, but we just read about it. It's not a literal burn, because now it's like you, and this is how we just talk, as we make mention, we just talk like this. Hey, I give up myself because I know how that work out, and it burn mouth or it burn mouth. Now is a sacrifice that is being made, and that sacrifice again is you putting in that work, because that now when Saul didn't follow the order, and this is so important, and them instructions, Samuel ended up making mention to him. He say obedience is better than sacrifice. And these men that we reading about here, these men was always obedient to what? To the truth. And this is why again we must come back to these lower statutes and commandments. And the Most High God will force us And when I say you force us, you bring me to the place that, hey, we have no other choice but to seek him. And this is what we want. Because now, as you say, in these last days, the Most High God is raising back our people and our nation. And this is why, again, in the I.S.U.P.K, under commanding general, this is the only place that you will find true brotherhood. And when I say true, the truth of how brotherhood is go down, how our family is being built, the whole structure of us being a people, right? So, right. So again, brother, again, most as you say, or these record again is just, again is explaining to us again, and this is why again, in due time, Lord allow, He move your spirit again. You can contact the number on the screen, and can reach out to the brothers and them, and again you'll be informed more, as we say, and as we say, we all speak the same thing. So these same questions that the director brothers is the same again, that same spirit that would come out of these again, these answers, because again, these one people, these one nation, these are people chosen by the Lord to be a special people unto himself. Right? So again, we up on the time. Again, this is I.S.U.P.K Trinidad and Tobago. Again, brother, you can reach out to the school in Louisiana again, and it'll be further directed. But again, Tawada for, as we say, our thanks in the English, Tawada is thank you in Hebrew, for brothers and sisters, chiming in, and bringing this to the point where again Israel need to be won, because now, as again, if you are tuned into American on Fire last night, you'd see where we commanding General Yana is up to date on what is taking place, where a Christian pastor is teaching it, as you say, to look at soaps and partake in sports and wherever in the current events that is taking place, and not teaching you about reality. Because now, come, as you say, come in a minute that anytime that swing take place, as we say, and know this is going to happen, that greenback or the American dollar get competition, know this. Things going on, as you say, you feel things hard now, you're in Trinidad, in the world, in the earth, know this. War raging, war on your rise. And all of this is prophesied in our records, right? So again, this is I.S.U.P.K Trinidad and Tobago. Again, like, share, and subscribe to the classes and them, come to class. There's a number, on the web page, on the Facebook and YouTube, contact, the number. You get instructions from there, you get counsel from there, right? And with that, one Shabbat. Okay. Right? So pass the class to priest and officer Shah, right? Yes, we Lord's prayer. Salam. Yes, I'm okay. Watch out. Yes. Well, yeah.
Security announcement. We are the I.S.U.P.K out of 123 column, New York, under commanding General Yahanna. The rules for brothers and sisters. When a new brother or sister comes to the school, they are off limit for 6 months. They are here to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the word. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a peculiar person, he or she must get permission from them to speak to another brother or sister. There is another 6 months where the brother or sister will report each other. After 6 month period, the brother or sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. You can find it in Numbers chapter 18, verse 21, Micah chapter 3, verse 8 to 10. Means 10 in Hebrew and comes from Maishara. 10% of every penny increase the Most High gives will get through the church department or teacher priest fund, free will offering for priests, non-mandatory, whatever amount you would like to give. Common holy convocation.
We still in the peace of ourselves. So let me please have fruits first.
Yeah, so that is from the video.
Okay, let's end it off at the close and the feast of fruits first. When is the closing date?
It will be the Feast of First Fruits. Starts after the Sabbath of unleavened bread, Sunday sundown, Saturday, April the 23rd to the 20th. Counts of 50 days. Celebrated the 50th day. Sunday, June the 12th. Starts before the sundown. You can find it in Leviticus chapter 23, verse 10 to 22. Reminder, that watch them to check on social media, such as Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and so on for I.S.U.P.K events and material. If your brother wants to be a trooper in the school, then just start wearing all black, which includes black boots, like shirt, like pants, like headband or scarf. With that beside Matthew, start up and rock the dog. We're going to say Lord's Prayer in Hebrew. Abanawa, Shabbat Shemayim, Kodash, Ayah, Shamka, Yahweh, Lakoka, Taba'ah, Atazaka, Ayah, Aisha, Barataza, Kawa, Ayah, Shemayim, Natan, Anawa, Lakam, Kal, Yawam, Basalak Noah, Wakinoa, Basalak Noah, Wakinoa, Allah, Tabianoa, Sawan, Ball, Oshino, Ayan, Rai, Ayah, Akap, Alakwa, Ala, Taparat, Ilumia, Man.
In the English, our Father,
Our
which art in heaven,
art in heaven,
hallowed be thy name,
Yahweh,
Thy kingdom come, thy will be done,
Thy will be done,
on earth, as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors, and lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. So be it.
Stop. Let's get a teacher one quickly salute. Imagine Shabbat. Imagine Barak.
Yahweh Shem Shabrakata.
Yarameta. Sa. Let's get a sisters online one quickly salute. Imagine Shabbat. Imagine Barak.
Yahweh Shem Alatan Bashem Roshai.
Yarameta. Class dismissed.